had a genre that was in many ways coming to its own in the 90s, as it gained popularity a decade before, albeit in a much raunchier form. But the teen sex comedy became a staple of the genre in the late 90s, all culminating with a box office hit in the end, and again exists now mainly in the direct-to-video wasteland of today. But with the genre, we got legit stars made out of these teen actors, some of them making their mark and then dipping out, and some sticking around to make a few of these things. What does it take to be a teen sex comedy? Well, let's see. Aside from the teens and the sex, usually some sort of task is at hand, like trying to have sex, or score alcohol to have sex, or, nobody expects high art with these kind of flicks. Just an excuse for some TNA, and throw in the hottest bands of the month, because you gotta sell the soundtrack. And maybe toss in Hyde somewhere in there in the supporting cast, and then bing bang boom, you got yourself a legit teen sex comedy. But what happens when you get one of these films that actually seems to give a shit? Even if it's just a little bit. Hear me out. 1997's Trojan War was directed by George Wang, who did some of my favorites of the decade, kind of being like a Bob Clark light as far as genre transcending in his film career. And George, in my opinion, always had a real feel for the screen. Here due in no small part to legendary cinematographer Dean Semler, who aside from working on classic films like Razorback and The Road Warrior, also won an Academy Award for his work on Dances with Wolves. So his influence really comes through, and the film is much better looking than it probably should be. Even though we get a sort of run-of-the-mill teen comedy, it's kind of done with a twist. The film acts as kind of a spoof of the genre at times, and takes on a very wacky tone about halfway through, but coming back to reality when we need it. It's kind of a mix of License to Drive, American Pie, and Booty Call? Brad is about to hook up with the girl of his dreams, but runs into a problem. No condom. So Brad sets out in the night to find one, running into many obstacles along the way, all the while not knowing his best friend, Leah, is in love with him. Yeah, okay, guy. The film stars Will Friedle, most well known from Boy Meets World and a few other Disney romps, and a blossoming Jenniffer Love Hewitt. God damn. It also stars Marley Shelton, that's right, Wendy Peppercorn herself, and ironically, IMDb lists Chauncey Leopardi as playing a random freshman, but I couldn't find him. Trojan War also co-stars Eric Balfour, Jason Marsden, Danny Masterson, and features cameos from Lee Majors, Wendy Malick, Danny Trejo, Tito from Tito and Tarantula, David Patrick Kelly, and Anthony Michael Hall plays a hilarious bus driver who's driving the same bus from Speed, ironically. You guys remember how popular Speed was back then? Here, Jenniffer Love Hewitt plays that girl that just doesn't exist in reality, and Will Friedle plays like every guy in the world. It really is frustrating at times.
Hi, I'm Brooke. I'm a vapid, vacant, vacuous girl.
Yeah, impressive. I think...
Come in, Brett. I've decorated my desk extra special for you tonight.
She doesn't have a desk.
What?
A girl like Brooke is not going to have a desk. It would clash with her whole bedroom motif. She'd have a vanity over it.
But to be honest, I think there are enough laughs here. Even though, some of them didn't really age too well. There's literally like 3 sets of racially insensitive Hispanics. It's a little off-putting. With Jenniffer Love Hewitt's presence, we can't help but get strong Can't Hardly Wait vibes here. I almost thought a lot of the soundtrack was the same, but I was wrong. It's just more mediocre alternative rock from the late 90s. Who knew?
Ain't not the measure of mercy. Ain't not the measure of mercy.
But there's definitely a charm of Trojan War that has completely lost on other films like this. I feel much more for Friedle's Brad than, say, Ethan Embry's Preston. Here I sympathize with Brad. Preston, it's like, just shut the fuck up already, dude. I actually remember this flick being shown on TV a lot, and I'm assuming that's because of Jenniffer Love Hewitt, but I also remember it popping up on video just out of nowhere, and it was kind of grouped together with these other weird Warner Brothers films. But hey, it taught me what a condom was. There's also a running gag here where his best friend, played by Danny Masterson, is grooming their other buddy on how to successfully score with chicks. Uh-oh. Also, another thing I kind of found odd, the poster seems to insinuate that the film has some kind of a race against time theme with a 24-hour deadline or something, which doesn't happen here. Weird. I've always been curious as to why this film wasn't more well known. You know, it had a big studio behind it, a big budget, and featured both a great director and a big star on the rise. I mean, then upon looking into it, I noticed that it had the same producer as Waterworld, another big flop of the decade, and then I found out that, indeed, Trojan War was a flop. A huge flop. One of the biggest flops of all time, in fact. The film cost $15 million to produce and only made $300 in the box office. You heard that right, $300. But you can't blame the film. It got shit out on the market with absolutely no promotion and was shown in a single theater for a week before being pulled. I found a guy who claimed to have seen the film 3 times with friends in a theater. Think about that. That dude is responsible for like a third of the film's box office. Crazy. And while this might seem out of the ordinary, sadly it's a fairly common practice in the biz. Sometimes these studios decide it's cheaper to release a film with basically no promotion, for one reason or the other, filling any contractual obligations as far as a guaranteed theater run by putting it literally in one theater, then writing it off and hoping to make a profit on video, where of course, Trojan War was a pretty big hit with teen audiences. For all involved, well, they were basically left unscathed. Nobody's career was killed off here or anything. Friedel and Hewitt were a couple at the time, and I'm sure they couldn't care less. It would be just a short time later that Jenniffer Love Hewitt would be on top of the world. Even though Trojan War gets very wacky, it still somehow doesn't treat its audience like children, and joins the rank of other 90s classics to feature that "Uh-oh, we're in trouble" song. And with the unique mixing of teen classics, and the lax raunchiness, and the wacky in-and-out tone, and of course a young, at her peaks, insatiable Jenniffer Love Hewitt, kinda make Trojan War the best 90s teen sex comedy ever made.